So I worked at Charter Communications. We were broadband tech, and then moved up the ladder, and then I was the lead. Just had like 9 guys under me that took care of the outside plant, fiber optic areas, and about 8 years into that, I noticed the company was changing a lot. Didn't like it, and I felt like I was just a born salesman. I love houses, so I decided to get my real estate license part time, and I grew it to about 25 deals a year while still working there, and then I just gave him my keys one day and left, and came to this full time. Well, I knew there was a realtor at Charter named Louis Garcia. He was a realtor with George Russell and taught the class, so that's why I just naturally went to him, and that's when I signed up for that and did that class there. The exam wasn't anything that I thought out of the normal. It had everything that was in the class. Louis did a great job going over everything. I actually passed one part of it and failed one part of it the first time I went, and then I had to reschedule, and then I passed it a second time. So, but it wasn't super hard. It was a lot of stuff that was in the book. Just the questions were asked different. ERA. I talked to ERA, and I didn't like their model or the splits or really anything about them. With Exit, they had at that point they had a really cool model with downlines and making extra money on referrals. So just went there, and honestly, this was more of a part-time hobby for me, and that brokerage seemed fun. They were popular, and a lot of people were going there, so it just seemed like the natural choice. Looking back in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have gone there. The training was pretty bad, but it was a good. I mean, for what it was fine. But I had to do a lot of self-training and just being self-motivated to actually get to where I am. Like I said, with Exit, it was the fun brokerage at that point. So there wasn't a lot of guidance or drive to really learn how to do anything. So at that point, it was just a hobby for me, and it was just we were just having fun. Until I went to KW, where they have amazing training, and I basically changed my hobby to a career. And once I treated it like a career, it just exploded. They were built for teams. Their model is perfect for teams. So that's what I wanted. I wanted a real estate team. And their training is they had a ton of training, ton of guidance. There's always someone available to help you. The office atmosphere in that Keller Williams is great. It's super urban. It's really nice. So it seemed like a good fit. Yeah, because it was more so being around other agents that also uses this as a career, and not just a hobby like I was doing. So learning from them, the big wigs in the industry, it was really nice, and they're always super willing to help. And they just made you focus on it as a career and not like just something fun to do. So once you had that mindset change, it just changed everything. Just like everyone that probably gets a real estate license, you think is exactly what you see on TV. The $1 million listing shows, you think you're going to kill it in real estate and sell all these houses, and I'm pretty sure my first year I lost money. My first deal was $50,000 in Athol, and I had to drive out there 6 times in a truck. So I'm pretty sure I didn't make anything off that deal. And then after that, it got fun. So I'll tell you right now, being at a company like Charter did help because there's a lot of employees. I still, to this day, sell houses to people that work there. So that definitely helped. Family, friends is going to be your sphere is number one where you get your business. And now that I'm in the position I'm in now, most of my stuff comes from referral or like social media or stuff. And all my leads that I have, those are for my agents. Well, I do a lot of things different for my clients. But I guess my biggest thing, my clients definitely know my communication is second to none. I always tell people if you call me or text me within 30 minutes, if you don't hear from me, I died. Because I'm just that in tune to my clients. They love my communication. I separate myself, so there's a lot of different practices I do. I don't double side any deals. I think it's unethical. Then I'll usually drop my commission down. If a buyer comes unrepresented, I'll write an offer for them. I don't help them. I drop my commission down from 5 to 3. So I, just save my clients money. They like that. I don't feel like they hired me. And now if I become a dual agent, I can't work for them anymore. They trusted me, now I can't. So I feel it's unethical. So I won't ever do it. Plus I'm scared of the liability. I go above and beyond for all my clients. Like we do birthdays for them. Like we send different gifts during the year, pop buys. We just try to make that, because your old clientele is going to be your number one source of business. So the better you treat them, the more business you're going to get. Yep. So I rented out the brewery in Sturbridge a couple times. So we did it there. Plus, it's an apple orchard, so they could bring their kids, their dogs. It was friendly for all. So it was a huge hit. We had like 100 people there. It was really good, and that just kind of started that trend of us doing that. So now we're doing now usually 2 or 3 a year. And then we do a pie giving, Thanksgiving area. We send out Christmas cards and everything. So, and then with the birthdays, every month we'll send out all the birthday cards. And we partnered with cupcake places around the area. So they just take that and they go to the Queen's Cups in Worcester or, Public House in Sturbridge, and they just say, "Oh, it's my birthday," and give them the card, and then we pay for the cupcake. Oh, and I donate a portion of every commission I get, I donate a portion of it to the charity of my client's choice. What's the point of being successful if you can't give back? So that's kind of my big why is being able to help. I did. I've always loved to do charity work, and I always wanted to try to help and give back. So I figured this would be a way to get my name out there and use it for good. Yeah. So we'll sponsor different events that go on in the community. I help out the Dudley Police a lot of times with different drives or charitable donations. Because they always need different things. That's the town I was from, so I always help them out. I do a discount thing for all first responders, so you'll get a discount on pretty much the whole service. Just because I appreciate all their hard work, and same thing with building military. I do the same thing with military. So I'll say this because I swear by this. Agent-to-agent relationships is probably more important than anything in this business. If you have a bad name as an agent to another agent, they're gonna sway towards a different way and to guide their clients into taking a different offer, not from you. So I feel, and in my past, I work with agents very, very well. They know I'm gonna close. They know I know what I'm doing. So they'll usually sway their clients into taking my offer because they know it's gonna go down well, and you're not gonna have any hiccups. And that's kind of the number one thing to me is having a good relationship with all agents. Never have animosity, even if you don't like someone, because you're gonna have to work with them. So it's just pointless. You're gonna hurt your client. And right now, at the end of the day, my client's the number one. So follow up. So I wasn't great when this was more of a hobby. My follow up was terrible. I didn't keep good notes. I didn't use the CRM correctly. People would say, "Oh, call me back in 6 months," and I'd call them back in 6 months, and by that time, they'd already bought a house. So now my follow-up game is on point, like ridiculous. So I tell you, my biggest listing was Fairway Beef in Worcester. I called that guy randomly, and he had a house in Auburn that he wanted to sell. He was rude to me on the phone, and I noticed in his email it said Fairway BF in it. So I asked him, I said, "Do you own Fairway Beef, or do you work there?" And he goes, "Actually, my family owns it." And the whole conversation changed. I called him. This is how good my follow-up was. I called him once every 2 weeks for 4 years, and most of the time he didn't even answer. And then one day out of the blue, he called me and he goes, "Hey, we just shut the doors on Fairway Beef. I can't think of another agent to call because you literally called me every 2 weeks for 4 years. So I want you to list it." So $1.5 million listing just for following up people. But it's happened to me so many times. And that's why I tell the agents, they get like frustrated. They only call a lead once or twice and they're like, "Oh, it's not gonna buy." And I'm like, you gotta do this shit for years before you actually start seeing like real results. And just keep on it. Like if someone tells me to call them back in 6 months, well, guess what? I'm calling back in 2 because I know you're going to forget me. Because people have no loyalty. So you want to make sure you keep top of mind at all times. Yeah. Yeah. I've had friends that I've sold a house to, and then they ended up listening to the lender because they were going to sell and buy another one. The lender advised them to use a different agent. Then these people were friends of mine, and I thought they would have been loyal. And I found out through Facebook that they bought a new house. So, I mean, it is what it is. It happens. You can't get mad at it at this point. There's plenty of houses to sell. But, yeah, it does rub you the wrong way when I've had a family member even do it, my aunt. So, it happens. You just turn the cheek. There's more places. It changed it in the sense where not even money-wise. It changed it in the knowledge and to realize that you can do way more than just sell houses. So now I own multifamilies. We are flipping houses. So there's just so many different avenues in this that I love, and I really think the investing side of it is more of a niche for me. I just enjoy it. I enjoy talking about it. Like I do classes at Nichols College about it. So we use them for their interns because they have a marketing class and a real estate class. So we reached out to them to see if they had any interns, and we've been using them for 4 years now for using marketing interns. And then the teacher kept picking my brain, and she's like, would you like to come in and talk to the class? So I started coming in and talking to the class about different things and just what they expect in real estate, not what you see on TV. So we did that one time, and then this next one I'm going in on the 28th is it's about real estate projects, so like investing. So flips, it could be a bunch of different things. Airbnb rentals, anything, property management. So every time I go in, there's gonna be something different. I just really enjoy that side of it. And don't get me wrong, I love working with buyers and sellers. Personally, I think it's more rewarding to work with a buyer than it is a seller. I love working with sellers, but when you can sell someone their first home that they're ever gonna buy, like that's a pretty good feeling. And I like working with buyers a little bit better. It's just a lot more time consuming. I would work with a lot of people that would do flips, and I realized that I was actually really good at making them money, and guiding them in exactly what to do with the flip, how much, how to get the money, just everything. I learned the entire process, and then I kept seeing them make a ton of money out of it, and I'm like, why don't I just do this myself? So then I started buying my own flips. So I got the one right now that I'm working on now. That one I fell into. I was actually listing it, and we got an offer day before closing. We got the property vacant. It's a 2-family. It was vacant, so we're making no money anymore, and they backed up day of closing. Client's gonna lose it. She said, I'm gonna file bankruptcy and lose the house. I said, all right, so how much do you need? What's the lowest you need to not file bankruptcy? She goes, $190,000. So I gave her a check for $190,000. Bought it, and now we're flipping it. And I chose that one. Wasn't bad. That one I fell into, but I didn't mind it because even if the market ever changed or shifted, I'll be able to rent it. So 20 or so investors, I like working with newbie investors. I can work with them and guide them into how to allocate everything. And I've probably done 60, 70 transactions with other flippers. I have a contractor on staff that I pay. He does all my contracting. I have an electrician and a plumber. But the first one I did a lot of the work myself. And don't try to run through a wall, because like you see on TV, because it doesn't move. Tried that. So now, with this one I'm like not hands-on at all. Like the goal was not to do a ton of work. I spent too much time with the other one, and really just didn't make sense money-wise. This one made a lot more sense, and I'm just going to do it the right way and have a contractor do it the way that's what he gets paid for. My job is not to be a contractor. The one with the money is they're both pretty easy, but the one with the money, I would probably see what their long-term goals were. If it's something they want fast cash, then I'd say maybe something like, flipping or wholesaling would probably be a good avenue. But if it's something they just want to build like long-term wealth and, a revenue stream, then I would say, long-term investment properties would probably be where I would build a portfolio with. And some will do both. And I can help with both. Price. So typically when you're going to flip a house, the rule of thumb is the third. So if you buy a property for $100,000, you put $100,000 into it, you want to be able to sell it for $300,000. That's a rule. It's rarely happens, but so you just want to make sure you just identify the properties that are priced accordingly. Also, because you're going to be buying cash usually, for a flip, you have a little more leverage. It's just really looking for properties that no one else wants. The uglier the better, honestly, because I see what's underneath, and a lot of people just don't. So with them, I would probably suggest getting their feet wet a little bit and doing an owner-occupied multi, and then being able to use that multi as leverage to buy something else. You can use it as, collateral to buy, a flip if you want to go that avenue, or another multi to start developing a portfolio. They're both very different in how you're going to approach them, but just because someone has no money doesn't mean they can't invest. The flip I just bought, it was $1,000 for a deposit. That's all I bought. He financed, everything else is financed. Communication is key. Just being available. That's all that's all everyone really wants. Like, it's unacceptable if you get someone to text you and you don't even respond with anything for hours. That's just, we live in a day and age where if you can just say, hey, I'm busy right now, I'll call back. I'll give you a call back in an hour. Just so you can acknowledge them, that's number one. Stay in communication with your clients. Knowledge of your craft, the area, know things that no other agent will. Do your research on everything. We can't say what school systems in our opinion is good, but we can use facts from online. Greatschools.org is what I use, and I just tell them, this school's rated this. Just know your area. Just be ethical to everyone. I will literally tell someone not to sell something or buy something if I don't think it's right. I would never put my name on something or hurt my client just to make $1. because I'm impatient and I expect me on every deal. And I have to get that out of my head that no one is going to work like me. Like, I'm just obsessed with it. I love what I do. And you can tell which agents do and which ones don't. So it's just challenging. You have to kind of adapt to their style, I guess, and try to just make it work for your client. That's, at the end of the day, that's all you care about. Kill them with kindness and vent to someone else. I mean, I've had, not really altercations, but there are some certain agents that are synonymous that no one likes, or they're rude, or whatever it is. And I've had conversations with them, and since having these conversations, they're different. They actually work with me really well, and it's kind of nice. So I'm brutally honest with anyone. And if you say something that I'm not going to like, or you're doing something that I'm not going to like, you're going to know it. And usually they respect you for it. There was a vacant home in Worcester. I went to go show it to an investor, and none of the lock boxes worked. So it was cold out. And then I went down to the basement was open, so I went down to the basement, and there was 10 homeless people living in the basement. So obviously, you want to make sure you're safe. So I just left and we didn't go in the house because there were so many people there. I just called the cops and just let them know. Number one thing is always, if I had to give anyone advice, just meet someone. If you're meeting for the first time, don't meet them at a house. Meet them in a public place. Meet them at the police station. And don't be afraid to tell the police that I'm going to show this house at this address, with this person I've never met. Just in case. You can never be too safe in this business because, there's some weirdos out there. Not really. I don't know. I'm not a small person, so it's a little intimidating to some people. So I've never really had that issue. I've had more issues with female clients that like me more than my client, like me more than an agent. Other than that, no, I have not really had much of anything. But I always tell people, my agents, my female agents, they don't go to a house that they've never met with anyone, and or without me or someone from the team. I'll go with any of my agents. So I just want to make sure they're safe. There's self-defense classes that KW puts on. Just a couple little tips. Leave your car so you have an out. So don't park in the driveway and let someone block you in. Park in the road or at the end of the driveway. Never go into a bedroom or a room first so they can close the door on you. Always let them go in first. And just let people know where you are. Because you just don't know. But if you can meet them in public first, that's the best probably scenario. Get to know the people before you go into an empty house with them, because you just don't know. I mean, obviously financially it's definitely changed. I left Charter, and it was the scariest day of my life, but also the best day of my life to do this full time. And ever since I took that leap and made it a career, I mean, I went from 25 deals to 45 that year, and then it just keeps going up and up and up. Now I'm developing a team that's going to be structured around, investing. So anyone on the team that can help, with their investments, but also help other people. Everything has changed. I mean, it really just changed everything in my life, for the better. Gives me, I say it gives me free time, but I probably work more hours than I did working at a regular job, but I don't feel 1 hour of it's actually work, because I enjoy what I'm doing. Looking at houses online, that's not work to me. Going to show a house is not work to me. So, I don't know. I like having the time and being the availability that I can just drop everything and go, okay, I want to go to fucking Aruba today and literally go. And I can do that. So. And I have. Yeah. So I just rebranded. My old team name was M&R Realty Experts. I'm under Keller Williams. My new team is Martin Legacy Group. Basically, I like that name because I wanted to really develop a legacy behind me, that I can leave, behind me that will change kind of the road for realtors, especially on my team. But they can reach me at my cell phone numbers. I give everyone my direct line, 508-963-8598. And they can call me anytime. And my new website is legacyhomesnewengland.com. Training, 1. 2, just the knowledge that I can bring to the table and help. I'm available pretty much all the time. And I'm not going to treat you like a number. I'm going to treat you like, I want you to succeed. That's my biggest thing is what's the point of having agents on your team or on your brokerage that don't sell? I don't want that. I want my agents to want to be with us. And that's why I structure my team completely different. Split-wise, we give them more. There's incentives to make more money. We cover all the costs, lead generation, everything. So not only with leads and, knowledge, you have my brain to pick and anyone else that's on my team. I would do it way different. I would have chose a different brokerage from the beginning. But other than that, I mean, there's things I would do different, but for the most part, I think that's the only thing I would change would be the starting brokerage. Because I think I could have been a little bit further along, not a little, I know I'd be a lot further along had I started somewhere else and actually like treated it like a real career. Because the first 4 years, it was just a hobby. Training is number one. Culture, being in an atmosphere around other professionals that are successful is great. 'Cause then you have people to look up to and to pick their brains. And my mentor is probably the number one realtor in all of New England at this point. So I want to learn from the best. So just don't be afraid to talk to people. Any successful agent will talk to you. I don't look at you as competition. I'll give you all the knowledge I have, and hopefully you do best, and hopefully you take it and do your best. I love seeing people succeed. It's more important now because this is more recent that I just started with them. It's definitely more important now because I've gotten to a certain point in my career that I don't really know how to go any further. We're very successful and sell nearly 100 houses a year, and that's great, but how do you go the next? Like, where do you go from there? Now it's going to be leverage on hiring admins and transaction coordinators and just different things. So that's what I'm learning now is to how to break that threshold. So my number one key is, so every morning I have the same routine. I do not touch my phone. I go to the gym, get my workout in. I come home, I make breakfast, a good breakfast. After breakfast, that's when I turn my phone on and I start looking at things. You have to have some balance. I'm terrible with it because I actually like what I do. I love what I do. So I don't mind. I'll take calls until 10, 11 o'clock at night. It doesn't bother me. I know that's probably not great, but that's just me. But just set aside time that is for you. But in that time, it's usually really early in the morning, so I don't usually get a ton of activity that in the morning anyways. But when I go on vacation, I'll usually check my stuff in the morning, and then I'll check it as we're getting ready for dinner. Other than that, I usually don't go on don't talk to anyone. I'll have one of the agents help or field my calls or whatever. But yeah, you have to try to have some time for yourself. I just love what I do, and I know how impatient I am. And if I called an agent and they didn't get back to me within a half hour, it would drive me nuts. So I will never be that agent. Charity. I love giving back. I love animals, and I love traveling. So that's kind of my big why, is to be able to give back, but also to have a life that I can enjoy the world and see different things that I could probably never have seen before. So that's my passion, would be charity and to give back and to travel. I've gone to about 10 different Caribbean islands, Costa Rica, all different areas in Mexico, just everywhere. And the funny part is I don't know how to relax ever, even in those places. The only place I've ever found that I can relax is Stowe, Vermont, which is odd to me. Like the second I pull into the town, I feel relaxed. It's like my happy place. So I'm going to buy some Airbnbs up there because I like going up there. But like literally, I'll be in the Bahamas on my phone on the beach. I've had a client say, like, he called me and I answered my phone and I talked to him, and he calls me back. He goes, "Aren't you out of the country?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm in the Bahamas." And he goes, "I just called my lender, who's 5 minutes down the road from me in the same town, and he didn't answer his phone, but you just answered yours in a different country." I said, "Well, that's why you hired me." You will never get a realtor like me. I'll be your best friend, but I'll also be brutally honest with you. But I'm also going to make sure that you're safe at all times. There really isn't going to be a realtor that does what I do. As you get bigger in this business, you'll get a huge downline of all sorts of things. So I have three lenders that I use primarily. Each has a different role. Some work with really, not great buyers that have really crappy credit. They're the only lender that can do it. Others are just good communication lenders. So I have a group of lenders. I have 2 attorneys that I use primarily. A couple of home inspectors, but I use one primarily. So you develop friendships and just different business associates along the way. So the market's it's just a little bit stagnant right now. I don't feel the prices are going to come down all that much. Rates will change, and I always tell people you're not married to the rate, you're married to the house. So be happy with the house for a little bit and then just refinance when you can. But don't put off buying because if you think the market's going to crash, it's not going to, and it's not going to go down like you think it is. So I would suggest buying now while the prices are a little bit lower than, say, a year from now, where the rates are going to be the same and the prices will be higher. The market's really friggin' hot right now, especially in like a Worcester or Shrewsbury. There's certain areas that are just disgustingly hot. So there's no, I don't feel there's any bad time to sell, especially when there's no inventory. You're going to get the most for your house with a down market and low inventory than you're ever going to get.